Chief, he's here.
Was on active duty during Iraq, but did not himself serve overseas. Never deployed.
So no combat experience?
None.
You hang back?
Got you, Chief.
Chief?
I'm glad you're back.
That Wi-Fi up yet?
It's coming. Marine Corps Martial Arts Program.
What?
MCMAP. Combat system combines hand-to-hand, close quarters.
We both know you never left the base.
Checking up on me.
What were you, motor pool?
No, put him for infantry, but they found a use for me stateside.
Oh. I think he's on the Wikipedia page. One mind, any weapon.
Calling any units on patrol.
Yep.
Chief!
You want to honor that deal, or do I gotta transition to
Put some
E?
distance between you.
Let's not do that.
Hey! Let go and move back.
Okay.
The movie opens with Terry Richmond, a former veteran, cycling on the road, listening to songs, but he gets run over by the cops. Officer Evan Marston, along with his partner, Officer Steve Land, cuffed Terry, claiming they tried to pull him over, but he fled. Terry mentions that he didn't hear him due to his earphones, but the cops don't play. They start investigating Terry and ask him personal questions regarding his identity. Officer Evan searches Terry's backpack and finds a package. He asks Terry's permission to open the package, but Terry refuses. They detain Terry and request a K-9 to search the package. Evan reveals it will take the unit an hour to arrive, but Terry is in a hurry, so he allows them to search. The officers find loads of cash in the bag, so they suspect it to be illegal drug money. Terry mentions it's not drug money, but his money that he needs to post his cousin's bail at the courthouse. Officer Steve mentions the cash to be almost 30 grand and asks what's Terry's cousin in jail for. Terry reveals 10 grand is for the bail, and the rest is to buy a truck and haul boats. His cousin Mike was in for possession of weed, but he wasn't selling it. The officers decide to let him go, but hold his money because they suspect it to be drug currency. Terry justifies himself by saying he got the money by selling his car and bought a steak in a restaurant called Can Long Chinese. Evan tells Terry that they'll be holding in the money, and Terry can get it back after 30 days when he's done the paperwork for it. Otherwise, they can put him in jail for a money laundering conspiracy. Terry forcefully complies, so they let him go. The cops head their way, and Terry picks up his bike and rides to courthouse. There he meets a man named Elliot, who is a court clerk. Terry tells Elliot to post his cousin's bail, and the cops took all of his money. Elliot refuses because Terry doesn't have any money, and reveals the jail is being renovated, so they are transferring all the prisoners to state prison. Elliot decides to head out because his shift ended, but Terry is furious because his cousin's in trouble. Elliot introduces Terry to his co-worker, Summer McBride, another court clerk, and soon to be a lawyer to help him out. Summer and Terry get a drink, where Summer reveals the local police department uses tricky legal ways to confiscate money from people. After the people fail to retain their money legally, the cops keep it for themselves, claiming it's for funds. Terry reveals his cousin Mike helped catch some dangerous criminals by giving up information. And if he gets transferred to a state prison, he might get attacked by the prisoners. Mike's transfer is on Thursday, so Summer suggests Terry get more cash quickly for the bail so they can save Mike. They head their ways, and Terry calls Mr. Liu, the owner of the Chinese restaurant, and his partner. He asks Liu for 10 grand, and Liu agrees to transfer the money in a matter of hours. At night, Terry locates the police department of the cops that detained him, and the next day decides to pay them a visit. He reports a robbery to Officer Jessica Sims and describes the robbers exactly like Officer Evan and Steve. Meanwhile, Officer Steve walks in and stops the report, claiming Terry is entering a false crime. The chief of the department, Chief Sandy Byrne, intervenes. Chief Sandy stands up for his men and tells Terry to leave, but Terry offers him to keep his money and just return the bail money. Sandy gets greedy and agrees. Terry wishes to meet his cousin before the transfer, so Sandy tells him to arrive at 9 a.m. on Thursday. On Thursday, Terry arrives at the police department, but the prisoner's bus has been departed because Sandy pushed up their schedule on purpose. Terry quickly rides up to the bus and tells his cousin to ask for protective custody as soon as he reaches the prison. Terry now visits Summer for her help, so she meets him in the back and informs him that she found some dirt on the cops and they can bust them. She reveals that the courthouse judge is also involved in it. As for Mike's bail, Terry needs to bring the money to Elliot's desk as soon as possible. Terry now arrives at the police department again and confronts the chief. He threatens the chief and tells him to comply, but Officer Steve intervenes and things get messy. Terry disarms both of them and takes them inside. He cuffs them, with Officer Sims' cuffs and takes her to the property room, where he finds dozens of armory and money. He takes his money and takes only 10 grand, honoring his original deal and leaving the rest for the boys in blue. He empties Jessica's gun and tells her to pretend to cuff him and drive him away smoothly so the ranchers outside don't shoot him. She takes Steve's car, drops him to a secure location, and puts out a police alert for Terry. Terry rushes back to the courthouse and brings the money to Elliot's desk. Summer goes to get the judge's sign on the bail, but by then the cops swarm the courthouse and arrest Terry. The cops take Terry to the courthouse catacombs for a medical checkup, and Evan takes him to meet Chief Sandy. They pick up Sandy and drive away. During the drive, Sandy lays all the cards on the table. He mentions that he made a mistake with meddling with Terry because they checked his background. They stop at a hospital where Sandy hands Terry his remaining cash, stating he remains quiet and pretends this never happened. Otherwise, they can arrest him for 30 years for attacking them. Sandy reveals Mike got attacked in the prison and is being flown towards this hospital. Terry is pissed and emotional, so he takes the deal. But Sandy warns him to never return to this town. Otherwise, they will eliminate him. Terry enters Mike's hospital room, but unfortunately, Mike does not survive. Terry now asks Summer for a lift and heads back to his town. They get tailed by a cop, and Summer reveals it's her contact in the police, which is her friend that's looking out for Summer. Summer tries to explain to Terry that there have been more cases similar to Mike's, so the police need to be exposed, but Terry is frustrated and ignores it. He gives Summer his number for emergencies and bids her farewell. Summer heads home and wakes up in the middle of the night when she finds someone entered her house and drugged her. She realizes the cops are behind this when she sees their car magnet on her refrigerator. She calls Terry, and Terry quickly drives to her house. He breaks in and finds her in the shower, alive. Summer reveals she's fine because the cops injected her with a drug that she used to take earlier in life. She had a daughter and lost her custody due to her history with drugs. She worries that she has been pardoned to meet her daughter for now, but if they test her tomorrow, then she might lose custody forever. Terry tells her not to worry and sends Summer to her job. Surprisingly, the judge wants to meet with Summer and wants her tested for drugs, signaling he is working with the cops. Summer is petrified but complies. She gives her urine sample and cries, knowing her fate. On the other hand, Terry runs into Officer Steve, who invites his partners that block the streets. Terry cooperates, but Steve shoots Terry for returning to the town. Terry gets injured but fights back. He tases Steve with his gun and drives away in the fields. Terry now abandons his truck and walks to his Chinese hotel and calls Summer, asking for burner phones. Summer arrives at the restaurant with the phones and finds Terry injured, while Mr. Liu patches him up. Terry and Summer plan to find evidence on the cops so they can bring them in. They turn incognito and break into the judge's house. They question the judge about the corruption of the cops, so he reveals that he's been working with Sandy for quite some time. Sandy's department was out of funds, so he brought in his own funds by illegally searching and processing the procedures through court, where the defendant had to fight for their money, but they'd lose every time. The judge had been on this because he was getting money too, and the state made it legal because parts of the money would go to government funding. The cops would make traffic stops, which would get rough just like Terry's in the beginning of the film. These searches were being recorded in the dash cams of the cops and could prove to be evidence to expose the cops. Terry and Summer decide to steal these footages, which are in the catacombs of the courthouse. They enter the courthouse and find that the cops are ahead of them. They light up a fire to blow up the evidence room, but Summer stops the fire. They quickly steal the memory cards and ignite the fire again to avoid suspicion. Terry heads out to the car and waits for Summer as she goes to retrieve her urine sample. Unfortunately, she gets caught by the officers. Terry waits for Summer outside and notices the cops kidnapping her. He follows them to a shady place where they split up and leave. One cop stays behind, so Terry drives into the cop's car. He chokes the cop and then handcuffs him for questioning. Terry uses his radio and talks with Sandy. Sandy makes a trade deal to exchange Summer for the memory cards. Terry agrees, so Sandy tells him to meet at the Rebel Ridge by dawn. Sandy's men wait at Rebel Ridge till morning, but Terry doesn't show up. Meanwhile, Sandy gets a call from Terry, while Officer Evan assumes he has located Terry's vehicle. Terry tells Sandy there's no turning back. On the other hand, Officer Evan finds out that Terry wasn't in the car. Rather, it's Officer McGill, taped to the car by Terry. Terry is at the police department, where he rips open the back wall of Sandy's department. Officer Jessica alerts the rest of the cops of Terry's location, so they head back. Back in the station, greedy Sandy quickly heads for the money, but Terry's loading weapons from the armory. He shoots Sandy with beanbag rounds instead of bullets. Jessica arrives and Terry cooperates because Jessica is the friend Summer was referring to. Terry trusts Jessica with the memory cards and tells her to release them. He confiscates Sandy's arsenal, but Sandy's men arrive outside. Terry hands a loaded gun to Jessica to cover him and piles up Sandy's money to pour gasoline on it. Jessica turns on Terry and tells him she doesn't want any shooting, so she takes him outside. Officer Steve confronts Terry and stomps the memory cards. Steve reveals he knocked out Summer so they can shoot him now without any witnesses. Officer Evans sees the error in their ways and steps up to protect Terry. They all point guns at each other, but Sandy shoots Evans' leg and takes away his gun. Terry looks at Jessica, who lowers her gun, so Terry makes a run with Evan. He hides behind a car with Evan and throws smoke grenades at him. Evan instructs him to turn on the car's dash cams, and after 3 minutes, the recordings will go live. Terry takes out the cops one by one, but doesn't kill them. He comes across Steve and takes his revenge for shooting him. He enters Steve's car where Summer is lying and turns on the dash cams. He drives the car towards Evan and rescues him. He drives them away from the station, but Steve manages to hold onto the car. He tries to get in the back, but Summer pushes him off. On the road, Sandy and his men follow them along with Jessica. Jessica crashes Sandy's car to let Terry escape. Terry drives to the hospital where they admit Summer and Evan in the emergency ward. Terry rips out the camera storage drive from the car and keeps it to himself for exposing Sandy. And the movie ends here. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.